it's Reija, and welcome to another Top 5 Wednesday. If you're new to Top 5 Wednesday, I'll leave the link to the Goodreads group down in the description. This week's topic is books to get you out of a reading slump. And I'm a bit of an expert on reading slumps since I get them quite often, so let's get started. So, when I get into a reading slump, I prefer to read very short books that aren't part of any series, or if they are part of a series, they are self-contained and don't necessarily require you to read the sequels. And I actually really want to have entertaining reads when I'm in a really bad spot with my reading, like when I don't get any enjoyment out of my reading, which is usually what happens when I'm in a reading slump. And that's why I actually enjoy very cheesy, very action-packed novels when I'm trying to get out of a reading slump, and I'm here to show you a few. First up, I want to recommend Soulless by Gail Carriger. This first novel is actually very fun. I think it's very imaginative. I didn't particularly enjoy the sequels to this, but I often reread this novel, and I find it very fun. Next one is Brokeback Mountain by Annie Proulx, and I know that this is probably a bit of a downer since it doesn't have a very happy end, but it is very short. You can read it in about, I don't know, 15 minutes actually, like 15 to 30 minutes. And because it's such a quick read, you get a lot of satisfaction out of it. Like, yes, I read and finished one book. So that's why I would recommend this in a reading slump. Third, I have Gods Behaving Badly by Mary Phillips. And this one is actually a really cheesy novel. It's about Greek gods living in England and their power is waning because people have stopped believing in them. So they are leading kind of double lives and trying to integrate into English society until two mortals come into their lives. And I find this book really entertaining. It's a bestseller, but I wouldn't consider it like a super quality book necessarily. Like it didn't read to me as this, like, yes, this is a super great book and I love it. It's more like an entertaining, good read once in a while if you want something a little over the top and dramatic. Next I have The Bunkie by Sarah Monette, and this is a collection of short stories revolving around a man called Booth, and they are a kind of horror psychological thriller kind of stories. And I actually quite enjoy them because they are very short, you can kind of read them in any order you want. And as I said before with Brokeback Mountain, because they're short, it gives you that feeling of satisfaction that you finished something, and that kind of pulls you out of the slump you're in. And lastly, I have Rivers of London by Ben Aronovich. This is the first book in a series that has spanned, I think, at least 6 books at this point, and it isn't really ending. But these books are very good, and the first book especially is very self-contained. It is basically an adult version of like a Harry Potter situation. A character finds out that there's magic in the world. He is a police officer, and he becomes an apprentice of a sorcerer, and they go around solving crimes together. And I find this very entertaining. It has a lot of diverse characters, and the world building is very stellar, and as I said, it is a very self-contained novel, so you don't have to feel bad if you don't want to read the next books in the series, and I definitely recommend it. So that's been my top 5 books to get you out of a reading slump. I would also recommend different kinds of anthologies like Fearsome Journeys or Rogues, because you can read short stories in any which order you want and still get the same satisfaction as you would from reading a huge novel. And my final advice to beating a reading slump would be just to take your time. Don't force yourself to read if you don't want to, and try to take small steps to get where you want to go. And that's been my video for this week. I'll see you again in the next one, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Bye!